The beacon ping cut through the howl of the Force 10 storm like a needle searching for flesh.
Control. This is Cole. I am picking up a SAR beacon 200 meters west. No visual yet.
Copy, Cole. I see it on the scope. Get a bearing and keep eyes on. I am alerting the standby vessel.
Through the sheets of rain, the beacon blinked a cold, mechanical cry for help. Then the deck searchlight caught something an orange lifeboat, empty, twisting in the swell.
Larson, it's an empty raft. No one aboard. No wreckage. No lights.
Mark it in the log and keep your distance. If no one's missing, it's not our problem.
Not our problem? A beacon still pinging, an empty boat. And he wants me to forget?
Larson logged the sighting with a single line, then turned his chair to the storm. But Eric stayed at the rail, the beacon's signal still pricking his ears long after Larson cut the call. When he finally turned away, the beacon had stopped, but the emptiness it left behind was worse.
Every time I close my eyes, I see that empty raft. No one missing. No distress call. It doesn't make sense.
In the control room, Larson sat alone, scanning crew manifests and old logbooks with a tightness around his eyes.
No mayday, no missing crew. And still the same damn spook every decade.
What was that, Larson? Old records?
Nothing to trouble your head, Cole. I told you, forget what you saw.
He's lying. I've never seen him jumpy before. Not in 3 years on this rig.
Get some sleep. That's an order.
The storm outside finally began to ease, but the pressure in Eric's chest only tightened.
Old records. I'll find out what you're hiding, Larson, even if I have to check them myself.
2 days later, the sea still heaved with a restless anger, the rig groaning against the swell.
Bloody hell. Callum, there's someone on the ladder.
God, he's half drowned. Grab his arm. I'll get the other side.
A gloved hand clamped onto the wet rung, and the survivor's full weight sagged into their grip. They hauled him onto the grating, an orange survival suit, drenched, a pale face barely conscious.
Casperson. Johann Casperson. My ship, SS Argent.
Larson, come in. We've pulled a survivor from the ladder, hypothermic. Says he's off the SS Argent.
Man's out of his head. The SS Argent? Never heard of her.
He's wearing a survival suit, but there's no raft out there, no wreckage. How the hell did he get here?
The crew wrapped him in blankets and half-carried him toward the sick bay, his mumbled words fading into the wind. In sick bay, the man gave his name again, his voice barely a whisper.
There's no SS Argent in any registry, no distress call, no missing vessel. Who are you really?
My ship, SS Argent. We were in the storm. 48 men.
Larson's jaw tightened. He stepped into the corridor and raised the Coast Guard on the VHF.
Control to Aberdeen. Confirm negative on registration for vessel SS Argent, as I thought.
No ship, but a man in a survival suit doesn't just appear out of thin air. Something is very wrong.
When the cloud ceiling lifted, a chopper took the survivor, still insisting on his story.
So what now, Larson? We just forget him like we forgot the raft.
A smuggler with a bad cover story, that's all. The name never existed. Let it go, Cole.
Let it go. He's lying again. That man wasn't just a smuggler. He was terrified. And he looked at me like he'd been waiting.
3 weeks passed. The rig settled back into its grinding rhythm, the survivor already fading from the crew's gossip.
Eric, get down to the dry room. There's a suit hanging here that wasn't there this morning. And the name Patch. It says Casperson. That's the bloke we pulled out of the water, isn't it?
Steady, Callum. Let me see. This is wet. Not condensation. That's seawater.
Nobody's been in here since last shift change. I check the inventory every morning.
The patch had been stitched with a rough hand, the orange fabric stiff with salt.
How can this be? The man is gone. His ship doesn't exist. And now his suit appears out of nowhere. Larson, we've got a situation. The survivor's suit. It's back. Same patch. And it's wet.
I'll take care of it. Tell the crew it was a mistake. And don't mention this again.
He's not surprised. He knows exactly what this is. And he's hiding something from all of us.
Rumors spread through the mess like a cold draft. Some crew joked about ghosts. Others ate in silence.
Larson hasn't even logged the suit's appearance. It's like he's trying to bury it. Larson, a word. You didn't record that suit in the log. That's not procedure.
Procedure doesn't cover this, Cole. Some things are better off unrecorded.
What aren't you telling me? I am not blind. That man, the raft, now the suit, they're connected.
You are right, but you don't want to know. When the time is right, I'll explain. Until then, leave it.
Eric left Larson's office more unsettled than before. The old man was afraid, not evasive. That night, he found a folded slip of paper in his locker. On it, a single word, Casperson.
This isn't Larson's writing. Someone else on this rig knows something. Someone who wants me to dig deeper.
The note burned in his pocket as the wind rattled the rig. Late in the graveyard watch, Larson's call came over the radio. Cole, my office, now, alone.
Shut the door and lock it. What I am about to show you stays in this room.
Larson laid an old logbook on the desk, its pages open to 3 entries circled in faded red ink.
1983, 1994, 2006. A man climbs the ladder. He gives the name of a ship no registry knows. We medevac him. Within a week, he's gone from the hospital. No record of him ever existed. And then the suit appears, hanging in the dry room with that same name, Patch.
3 times before. The same story. This isn't a hoax. It's a wheel that keeps turning.
The company buries it. We stay quiet. That's the order. You understand why now?
Why are you telling me this? Why now?
Because the wheel is turning again, and you are already in it. Don't go looking for the ship, Cole. Let the dead stay drowned.
He didn't sleep that night. Larson's words circled his mind with the rig's endless mechanical hum.
Let the dead stay drowned. But they're not staying drowned. They're climbing the ladder.
At morning coffee, he watched the old-timers gather, their silence thick as sludge. One cracked and whispered, "SS Argent. My father was standby crew in '83. He saw them pull a man from the water."
SS Argent. Not a fantasy. The name survived in whispers, passed from father to son.
The pieces locked. A ghost ship, a repeating rescue, and a suit that always returned.
My leave starts in 4 days. I'll take the ferry to Aberdeen, dig through the maritime records. There has to be something.
He requested his leave early, telling Larson he had family business. The lie tasted like salt. On the dock, the fog clung to him, like the breath of something that didn't want to be found.
I am going to find you, Casperson. All 48 of you.
The Aberdeen archive smelled of old paper and salt. Eric pulled ledger after ledger, his hands quick and desperate. 4 hours in. His finger stopped on a line that made the air leave his lungs. SS Argent, cargo steamer. Foundered the 12th of November 1971. Position 57 degrees net 1 degrees E. All 48 hands lost. No survivors.
120 miles northeast of the rig. Johann Casperson, 1971. He wasn't a smuggler. He was a dead man.
He turned the page and found the crew list. The name Johann Casperson stared back at him in faded ink.
He climbed our ladder 40 years after his ship went down. That's impossible.
With shaking hands, he photocopied the entry, the clerk eyeing him with suspicion. He found a yellowed newspaper clipping, its headline screaming a disaster the world had forgotten. Disaster at sea. 48 feared lost after cargo vessel founders in North Sea storm.
He was dead, and yet I pulled him out of the water. The dead aren't drowned, they're waiting.
In his rented flat, Eric spread the crew list next to a chart of the North Sea. The position of the Argent's sinking was a pinprick of black ink.
1983, 12 years after the wreck. 1994, 11 years later. 2006, 12 years again. And now, the gap never changes.
He drew his finger along the chart, 120 miles northeast of the Hebrides, directly in the sector where the rig stood.
We didn't stumble across a ghost. The rig was built on top of their graveyard.
He folded the photocopy and laid the name patch on top. Both went into the bottom of his duffel, under his coveralls. Then he picked up the phone. Larson's gruff voice came through the handset after 2 rings.
Larson, it's Cole. I am coming back a day early. I'll catch the 0800 chopper. He doesn't need to know about the Argent, about any of it. Not until the next man climbs the ladder.
The lie sat easier than it should have. By noon, he was airborne, the rig growing on the horizon like a steel ghost. The moment his boots hit the helideck, Eric felt the secret hardening inside him like concrete.
The men around me laugh and curse like always, but they're walking on a grave. Only I know.
He went straight to his locker, ignoring the curious nods of the crew.
The Casperson patch and the crew list belong here now. Evidence of something no one wants to see.
In the privacy of his bunk, he began to log the dates, like a seismograph tracking an earthquake. He watched the sea during every shift break, his eyes scanning the horizon for a light that shouldn't be there.
You are jumpy, Cole. Something I should know.
Just the weather, Larson. Feels like a big one's coming.
That night, the barometer fell off a cliff. Wind shrieked through the steel, and the waves rose like black mountains.
This is it. The wheel is turning again, right on schedule.
By midnight, the Hebrides was a cathedral of screaming steel and water that swallowed every other sound. In the control room, the EPIRB alarm shrieked through Larson's headset without warning, cutting his voice off mid-sentence.
My heart slammed against my ribs. The same sound, the exact same pitch. It's beginning exactly as before.
All hands. Deck check. Get a searchlight on the water, now.
The searchlight sliced through the spray and caught the shape of a lifeboat, orange and empty, bobbing just beyond the landing.
An empty raft, just like the last time. The cycle never changes. Next comes the man.
There. I saw him. A man in the boat for a second. Then nothing.
But when they pulled the raft close, its interior was undisturbed, the seats cold and dry.
Get back inside. There's nothing there. Maintain radio silence on this.
He knows. Larson knows exactly what comes next, and he's terrified the crew will start connecting the dots.
By dawn, the storm had pulled back its claws, but a cold mist still clung to the rig, like a shroud.
Eric, it's happened again. The dry room, the suit, the same bloke's name.
Eric pushed through the men and found an orange survival suit, dripping seawater onto the grating.
Casperson. The stitching is fresh. The fabric still slick with salt. It's impossible.
The crew crowded the corridor, refusing to enter. Larson forced through and tore the suit from the hook without a word.
Back to your stations. There is nothing to see.
But his silence said more than the order. He carried the suit away like a body.
This is the Herald. The man I pulled from the water left this here. I have to wait for him.
That night, Eric told his shift leader he'd do a manual check at the boat landing. A lie.
When you climb that ladder tonight, I'll be waiting. I know your name, your ship, and the year you died.
He crouched in the lee of the landing, the wind carving through his foul weather gear. Hours passed like minutes.
Larson's voice crackled through the handset. Cole, report your position. You are overdue.
Just a valve check near the boat deck. All clear. I'll be up in 20.
The radio hissed and died. In the sudden silence, he heard it not wind, but the rhythmic clang of boots on wet metal.
My pulse raced. It's him, climbing with the same steady pace, as if the storm didn't exist.
A shape solidified from the spray. A figure in orange, hauling itself rung by rung with a mechanical patience.
Need a hand, please. I am Casperson, SS Argent.
Those words were spoken in 1971. He's trapped in a loop, reliving his death exactly the same way. I've got you, Johan. Come up. We need to talk.
He pulled the dead man onto the grating, feeling a weight that was solid yet terribly wrong. The interrogation would begin now. Eric guided the trembling man into the shadow of a pipe rack, out of the wind's worst howl.
The Argent, 48 men. We were in the storm, and then the wave. The sea just opened.
What year was this, Johan? When did you set sail?
November 1971. The cold. It's still in my bones. The ship broke up so fast.
He's not recalling a memory. He's inside it. This man drowned 40 years ago, and he still thinks it's happening.
We saw the rig's light, so close, but the lifeboats were useless. The water came too fast.
A hatch slammed open behind them. Larsen's flashlight sliced the dark, its beam fixed on Casperson.
Cole? What in God's name? Is that who I think it is?
Larsen's face drained to the color of old ice. He stumbled back, his hand gripping the door frame.
He's from the Argent, Larsen, 1971. He's one of the 48, and he's still out there.
Get him to sickbay, Cole. Standard procedure, even for a ghost.
They half-carried Johan through the dim corridors, his survival suit leaving a trail of seawater. In sickbay, Eric got him onto the cot. Larsen stood in the corner, radio in hand, his face unreadable.
Johan, do you remember the others? Your crewmates on the Argent.
So cold. They were all calling, but I couldn't reach them. We're always waiting.
He's slipping away already, like last time. But now I know his name and his doom. Why do you keep coming back here, Johan? Why our rig?
The man's eyes drifted to the ceiling, his lips moving without sound, as if answering a call only he could hear.
Aberdeen, this is Hebrides. Request immediate medivac for one hypothermic survivor. Condition deteriorating.
The chopper would come. Johan would be taken, and within a week, he'd be gone as if he never existed. The suit, however, would stay. When the storm broke, the medic chopper clattered onto the helideck. Johan was lifted in, still mouthing his crew's names. As the rotor wash died, Eric's boot hit something wet. The survival suit lay crumpled on the sickbay floor.
The patch is new again. Fresh stitching. Bright orange, still dripping. Every detail exactly as before.
Hang it in the dry room this time, Cole. You know the drill now.
Yes, sir.
He did not argue. The suit felt heavier than it should, as if it carried the weight of 48 men. He walked the narrow corridors alone, seawater pooling from the fabric with each step.
I am the custodian of a ghost's wardrobe. If I hang this, I am part of it, no longer just a witness.
In the empty, dry room, he hooked the suit onto its rack. The name Casperson faced outward like a signature. The suit would hang there until the next storm, waiting for the cycle to turn again. And he would be there when it did. After hanging the suit, Eric stumbled to his locker, his body heavy with exhaustion.
2 patches. One from weeks ago, one from tonight. They're identical, but tonight's is still wet.
He placed the new patch beside the old one, both facing up, silent witnesses.
48 men, and not one at rest. They're stuck in a loop, and this rig is the only solid thing they can reach.
He sat on his bunk, staring at the steel wall, feeling the weight of a secret that was not his to tell. A knock came. Larsen stepped in, his face softer than Eric had ever seen it.
Now you know, Cole, it'll happen again. As long as this rig stands, they'll keep climbing.
I won't tell anyone, Larsen, not a word. It stays buried.
Larsen gave a single, tired nod, then left as quietly as he'd come. The bond of silence was sealed.
Not a word onshore, not ever. This is our burden now, mine and Larsen's.
7 days after the medevac, a single-page telex chattered out of the control room printer.
Read it, Cole. Aberdeen lost him. No trace, no record.
Casperson, Johan. Admitted 2,200 hours. disappeared from ward at O210. No identity, no next of kin.
Vanished like smoke. The chain holds. He's gone, but the suit will never dry.
He went to the dry room. The orange fabric still beaded with moisture, defying the ventilators. His fingers brushed the patch. Casperson. The stitching felt fresh, as if sewn moments ago.
Salt water from 1971. It never dries. It's still out there, waiting for the next storm.
He closed the dry room hatch and walked to his station. The rig did not care about ghosts. That evening, he stood alone on the lower catwalk. The North Sea stretched below him like a gray mirror.
48 men, and none of them rest. But I do. I work, I wait, and I say nothing.
3 rotations later, the North Sea stirred itself into a dark, restless warning. Not a Force 10, but something far more patient. Eric stood on the lower catwalk, hands on the wet rail, eyes fixed on a sea that seemed to hold its breath. A single electronic ping cut through the wind. A beacon, weak and distant, the exact same pitch he knew too well.
There it is, right on time.
His knuckles whitened on the rail. Then, deliberately, he looked away. Up in the control room, Larson heard it too. Their eyes met for a bare second. No alarm was raised. The beacon faded into the storm's throat, swallowed as if it had never been.
We know the drill. The raft comes next, then the man, but I don't call it in. Not anymore.
He walked inside, the wind slamming the hatch behind him. The rig carried on, indifferent.
They'll climb again. I'll be there, and I won't say a word.
End of shift. Eric packed his duffel with the same economy he'd learned on the deck. He opened the inner locker door and looked at the 2 patches. Still there. Still separate.
Casperson. I trace the letters with my finger and feel the salt of 2 different seas.
He locked it, caught the next chopper, and by sundown, he was standing on dry land. His mates met him at the usual pub. The clink of glasses a familiar sound.
Same old North Sea. Nothing worth telling. The lie slid out as easily as the pint slid down. The cold weight beneath my ribs was the only reminder.
3 weeks later, he'd pack again. The chopper flight was as routine as a bus. Before he boarded, he looked back at the shore lights. Then he turned to the sea.
I know what waits out there, and still I go, because someone has to.
The Hebrides platform stood against a night sky bruised by an approaching storm, every light a desperate shout against the dark. Eric Cole stood on the lower catwalk, his silhouette a sliver of stillness among the floodlights, rain beginning to spit and hiss against the steel. Far out on the black water, a tiny emergency beacon flashed once, twice, a cold cry for help that no one would answer. He did not move. The wind tore at his coveralls, but his hands remained on the wet rail, his gaze fixed on the point where the light had been. The beacon's light died, swallowed by the swells as if it had never been. The camera pulled back, and the rig became a toy of steel against a vast, remorseless ocean, its lights shrinking to embers. The wind howled on, unanswered, indifferent. The sea stretched in all directions, black and patient, a graveyard without markers. The cycle would turn again, as unending as the tide. And Eric Cole would be there, fade to black.